Hello everyone, this is Bushra Sayed, Assistant Professor at Zoology Department, Siyusha Institute of Science, Ahmedabad. Today we will be studying about coelom, its types and significance, which belongs to the course syllabus of semester 3, paper 201. So first of all, you should know what is coelom. Coelom, in other words, is also known as body cavity. Body cavity is the internal space. So which internal space? The space that is present inside the body. So in your body, wherever inside your body, wherever the spaces are present, those are the body cavity. So which spaces? The spaces between the body wall and the digestive tube. So coelom is basically body cavity which is present between the body wall and the digestive tube. Body wall is your skin, as for example, and your digestive tract. Between your digestive tract and your skin or the body wall, whichever space is there, we call it as coelom. Here, if you see, if you take a cross section of a sheep, you will be able to see such body cavities. This is the gut. Gut means the digestive tract. This is the coelom and this is the muscle layer, or we call it as a body wall. This is the body wall. This is your digestive tract, and in between the space which is there, the empty space which is there is known as coelom. Coming to the next, that is the features of coelom. So what are the peculiarities of? So the very first feature here is that how the coelom formation takes place. So mesoderm. What is this mesoderm? It is one of the three germinal layers. What are these germinal layers? These germinal layers are present in the embryonic stage of higher organism, whereas in adult also they are present in younger organism. That means in lower organisms you will be you will be able to find this germinal layers in the adult stage, whereas in higher organisms such as vertebrates you will be able to see these germinal layers in the embryonic stage. Now what does this germinal layer does? They result in the formation of different organs of your body. There are total three germinal layers. The first one is the ectoderm, followed by mesoderm and endoderm. All the three germinal layers are responsible for the formation of different organs in your body. So in the embryonic stage, all the organs of your body are formed from these germinal layers. So one of the germinal layer is mesoderm here, and by split in the mesoderm, the coelom formation takes place. We know that body cavity will also be forming from one or the other germinal layers. So coelom has been formed by the split in the mesoderm, and along with the formation of coelom, the formation of two different layers also occurs, that is the somatic layer and the splanchnic layer, epidermis and endoderm. Epidermis is basically the part of your skin, the ectoderm. We can also call it as a part of ectoderm. So here in the diagram, if you see, this portion is the epidermis. The epidermis is being followed by the muscle wall, that is the body wall. Okay, so and in between the epidermis and the inner region, that is the endoderm, we call it as a splanchnic layer, lies the coelom. So with the formation of mesoderm, the formation of coelom, epidermis and endoderm occurs simultaneously. The second feature is that it becomes bounded on all sides by coelomic epithelium, which secretes the coelomic fluid. So coelom is not an empty cavity. It consists of some fluid inside it. We call it as coelomic fluid, and the coelom is being bound by coelomic epithelium. It has a covering. The covering is known as coelomic epithelium. The third one, if we see, because of this fluid, that is the coelomic fluid, fills space and packing of the coelom, the viscera, it means the place where all your visceral organs are arranged. Now, what are these visceral organs? All the body organs in your thorax as well as abdomen region is considered as visceral organs. So these visceral organs, or the place where the visceral organs are located, is known as viscera. So this coelomic fluid will be helping the viscera to move independently, right? The viscera remains independent of the movements of the muscles of body wall. It means whenever the muscles of the body wall contract or relax, it will not cause any harm or any movement in the organs located in the viscera. Why? Because there is a space between body wall and the viscera, and this space is coelom, and this coelom consists of the coelomic fluid, which will help the organs to stay at their position while the body wall is performing any kind of movement, because we know that body wall has performed several movements. Whenever we move our body, the body wall also performs some motion because of the presence of muscles there, but those movements will not affect the organs of viscera because of the presence of coelom and the coelomic fluid. The fourth feature is that in all probabilities the ancestral coelomate animals had segmentally arranged mesodermal pouches. So they have the ancestral coelomate animals. We are talking about the animals, the coelomate animals. It means those animals which have coelom in the earlier times. They were having segmentally arranged mesodermal pouches. It means that mesoderm is present in the formation of pouches, but not in the form of a layer. It is present in the form of pouches. The evolution of mesodermal pouches is evident in present day coelomates. So certain coelomates today also bear these mesodermal pouches in their body. So this is how you can relate that coelom has been originated from the mesoderm region of the out of the three germinal layers. So these are the four different special or specific features of coelom. Moving towards the next, that is the types of coelom. There are total four different types of coelom. The first one is acoelom. It means that there is no coelom in the body of organism. Pseudocoelom, where there is the presence of coelom, but it is not originated from mesoderm, it is originated from somewhere else. So that is why we call it as pseudocoelom. We know that pseudo means false. Eucoelom, it means that is the true coelom. Eu means true. So that is the true coelom which has been originated from eucoelom. And hemocoelom, that is present in several insects, which consist of hemocoelom, which is a rare kind of coelom that we will study. So now we'll see each of them one by one. The first one is the acoelom. Acoelom means there is no coelom present in the body. It means that there is the absence of body cavity in the body. You can see here in the diagram the three germinal layers: ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. They do not have any kind of cavity in between. It means that they do not have any kind of coelom. That is why we call them as acoelom. Okay. The space between the gut and the body wall. The gut is the digestive tract. Here is the digestive tract. And the body wall is filled by a specific kind of densely packed connective tissue derived from ectoderm and endomesoderm called parenchyma. So There is some space, but that space is filled by this parenchymal fluid. It is not filled by the coelomic fluid, but it is filled by a densely packed. It means that you will not be able to distinguish this space. It is a packed layer of parenchyma secreted by ectoderm, but not by mesoderm. So that is why we call them as acoelom, because coelom is not present in such organisms. Many triploblastic organisms. Now, what is this triploblastic? Again, it is based on the presence of germinal layers. If the body consists of all the three germinal layers, those organisms are known as triploblastic. Those organisms which do not have mesoderm, which have only endoderm and ectoderm, they are known as diploblastic organisms. So talking about the body cavity, in triploblastic animals, the animals are without a body cavity in triploblastic animals called acoelomates. It means that in triploblastic organism, if there is no body cavity, we call them as acoelomates, and the group of organisms are known as acoelomata. Examples are Gnethostomulida, Platyhelminthes, Nemertia, Gastrotricha. So we know about Platyhelminthes. We have studied in our semester 1 about liver fluke. It belongs to the phylum Platyhelminthes. Gnethostomulida is a phylum which comprise of the organism bearing jaws, which is again divided into several classes. Nemertia and Gastrotricha are again the rare phylums. So this is another diagram showing you the acoelomate pattern. See the ectoderm, in between there is a mesoderm, and this is the endoderm. This mesodermal region is densely packed with what? With the densely packed fluid secreted by the ectoderm. We call it as parenchyma also. The second one is there, which is pseudocoelom. We call it as a false cavity. Why false cavity? Because it is been not derived from mesoderm. We have seen earlier the first feature. The first feature of the coelom was saying that the coelom is being formed from mesoderm. But here in the case of pseudocoelom, the coelom is not formed from the mesoderm, but it is formed by persistence of embryonic blastocyst. Now, what is this blastocyst? The 128 stage embryonic stage, the 128 cell embryonic stage is known as blastula. That blastula consists of a cavity which is known as blastocyst. Okay, so not from the germinal layer, not from the mesoderm, but this coelom is been originated from the blastocyst. That is why we call it as pseudocoelom. Okay. The term pseudocoelom usually refers to the space which does not develop from embryonic mesoderm and is not lined by coelomic epithelium derived from mesoderm. We have seen that coelom consists of coelomic fluid and it is covered by the coelomic epithelium. But in case of pseudocoelom, there won't be any covering of epithelium since it is not derived from the mesoderm. So here is a diagram. You can see it is a cross section. This circular diagrams are nothing but this is a cross section. If you take an organism and you cut a transverse section of that organism passing through the digestive tract, you will be able to see such organization. So the first layer is the ectoderm, that is the body wall, followed by the mesoderm. After the mesoderm comes the pseudocoelom and the inner one is the endoderm, and this space is your gut. We know that digestive system is a hollow system, right? It is a hollow tract. So that is why there is space here. So this is the digestive tract. This is the endoderm. In between the mesoderm and endoderm lies the pseudocoelom. Here also if you see, the pseudocoelom is very persistently seen. But here you can see, unlike the earlier diagram that we have seen, here you will be able to see the pouches of mesoderm. We have talked about the evolutionary phase of the formation of coelom, that there were mesodermal pouches still present in today's organisms. So these are the mesodermal pouches. This is also pseudocoelom, this is the endoderm, this is the ectoderm. These are the mesodermal pouches, and in between the space which is there is the pseudocoelom. The body cavity in the pseudocoelom is bounded externally by the fibrous processes of longitudinal muscle cells. Longitudinal muscle cells, it means that they are arranged longitudinally. Okay, so the coelomic cavity, this is the pseudocoelomic cavity. It does not have a coelomic epithelium since it is a false cavity, but it is bound by some fibrous process of longitudinal muscle cells arising from mesoderm and internally by the intestine, that is the endoderm. If we can easily see in the diagram, right? The pseudocoelomic fluid acts as a hydrostatic skeleton to maintain body shape and circulate nutrients. See, this is one of the function of coelom or pseudocoelom, that it acts as a hydrostatic skeleton, like a skeleton which is without bones. The organism which consists of pseudocoelom are not vertebrates, they are invertebrates. They do not have any kind of bones in their body. But this coelom, this pseudocoelomic fluid will help. Like bones in our body are mainly responsible for maintaining the shape of the body. And right, so for maintaining the shape, so the shape of the body which is there is being controlled here by the hydrostatic skeleton or the pseudocoelomic fluid, right? So it will help the body to maintain shape and circulate. Also, it will be helpful in the circulation of nutrients because these are invertebrates and they do not have blood in their body. So the nutrient circulation takes place through the pseudocoelomic fluid which is being secreted by the mesodermal and endodermal cells. Animals that bear pseudocele are known as pseudocoelomates or pseudocoelomate animals. Examples for pseudocoelomate is Rotifera, Nematoda and Nematomorpha. You are familiar about the Nematoda. We usually call them roundworms, right? Such as Nereis. So these roundworms which are there, they have pseudocoeloms in their body. Rotifera and Nematomorpha are other different types of phylum. Rotifera is the microscopic organism. Okay, are the microscopic organisms. Okay. So when we talk about nematodes, the pseudocell is small or non-existent. You will not be able to see in some small free-living nematodes. Okay, some small free-living nematodes will not be having any pseudocell or it will not be existent. But in the large size nematodes, there will be a voluminous, means a large pseudocoelom is present. When we talk about nematomorphos, it contains stellate mesenchymal cell. The pseudocell consists of stellate mesenchymal cells. Mesenchymal cells are those cells which are present in the below the body wall, right? The soft cells. Stellate, it means their shape. Their shape will be star shaped. That is why stellate mesenchymal cells. When we talk about rotifers, a spacious fluid-filled pseudocell occurs beneath the body wall and surrounds the gut and other internal organs. Okay, just like that we have mentioned earlier. Coming to the third type of coelom, that is the eucoelom, that is a true coelom, the actual coelom which arises from the mesoderm, lying between the gut and the outer body wall musculature and lined by coelomic epithelium derived from embryonic mesoderm. Understood? So This is what a true coelom is. It is derived from the embryonic mesoderm. It is lined by the coelomic epithelium and it is located just in between the outer body wall and the gut. So here if you see in the diagram, there is again a transverse section of a body passing through the digestive tract. This is the blue one is your ectoderm, red is the mesoderm and yellow is the endoderm. In between the mesoderm, you will be able to see the coelom, right? Here is your coelom. The white space which is present here is the coelom. So you can easily make out that this coelom is been formed from the mesodermal cells. Okay, mesodermal origin and opens to the exterior through the coelomoducts. Now, this is one of the very special feature of coelom. What is the special feature? That is the presence of coelomoducts. We right until now we have not talked about the coelomoducts. It means that they provide the passage of certain tubes to open coelomoducts. Ducts means where some or the other tube or pipe will be opening, right? We know about the bile duct, right? So from the liver, whichever secretion that comes in the bile duct. Just like that, the coelomoducts also acts as the duct which will receive the secretions from some organism. So you can say the oviduct, for example, the oviducts and excretory ducts, mainly in the lower organism, are the extensions of coelomoduct. The coelomic fluid contains amoeboid cells or amoebocytes. So the coelomic fluid consists of what? It has amoeboid cells or amoebocytes. They look like amoeba, that is why we call them as amoeboid cells. The animals containing such a body cavity are known as coelomates, right? Those with acoelom are known as acoelomates, those with pseudocoeloms are known as pseudocoelomates, and those with eucoelom are known as coelomates. Examples are here: Pipincula, Echaiura, Priapulida, Mollusca, Annelida, Arthropoda, Onychophora, Phoronida, Brachiopoda, Bryozoa, Echinodermata, Scythognatha, Hemichordata and Chordata. Chordata consists of the different chordate organisms including humans. The amphibians, reptiles, aves and mammals, they all come under the chordates. Also the fishes and other different phylums. About some of them you know, but some of them you are not familiar since they are the rare phyla, or we also call them as minor phyla. But those organisms do possess coelom and they have eucoelom, or we call them as coelomates. So this is a diagram showing all the three different types of coeloms. The first one you see is the acoelom, where there is no cavity. The second one is the eucoelom, where there is the true coelom is present in between the body wall and the endoderm. And here is the pseudocoelom. Example of a nematode is given. So there are different examples also given: flatworm for acoelom, an annelid for eucoelom, a roundworm or a nematode for pseudocoelom. So from this diagram, it will be very clear for you that if you take a cross section passing through the digestive tract of the organism, you will be able to see the coelom very clearly. Now we are talking about the eucoelom. Okay, continuing with the eucoelom, there are two different types of eucoelom present. The first one is the schizocoely and the another one is the enterocoely. Now this is given on the basis of different organisms. When we talk about schizocoely, they are the protostomia, and the enterocili are the deuterostomia. Both these are a group of organisms. We'll discuss about it, but first you should know that what is schizocili and what is enterocili. So in schizocili, coelom arises by the splitting of mesodermal bands or masses during embryonic development. Okay, so in schizocili what happens? The coelom will arise from the splitting of the mesodermal bands, whereas in case of enterocili, coelom is formed by the evagination from the embryonic archenteron. Archenteron is the part of embryo which will give rise to the digestive tract. Okay, so here it will somewhat arise from the evagination. Evagination, when we talk about, it is the outer folding. Okay, if from a cell something is coming out, outfolding is, in other words, is known as evagination. So evagination of embryonic archenteron, that is, somehow we can call it as an endoderm, because digestive tract is formed from endoderm. So archenteron is the young digestive tract, we can say. So during the embryonic stage, coelom will be formed from the evagination of embryonic archenteron. Example of schizocili are mollusca, Annelida, Arthropoda, Tardigrada and Onychophora. Whereas when we talk about deuterostomia, the examples are Echinochordata, Hemichordata and Chordata. So chordates, we humans fall under deuterostomia or enterocili, where the coelom will arise from embryonic archenteron. But that doesn't mean that mesoderm will not contribute. A true coelom will always be formed from mesoderm. But here the embryonic archenteron will be taking part in the formation of the eucoelom. See, here is the diagram showing you the difference between the protostomes and the deuterostomes. Before knowing that, you should know, just focus on one particular word right now, that is the blastopore. We have talked about the blastocell, that is the cavity in the blastula stage. Okay, so this is the cavity. The end of the cavity is known as blastopore. That blastopore, if it converts into mouth, we call those organisms as protostomes. And if that blastopore converts into anus, we call it as deuterostomes. Again, in the embryonic stage, if the blastopore is converting into mouth, if it resulting into the formation of future mouth, we call it as protostome, and if it results in the formation of future anus, we call it as deuterostomes. So this is the major difference between protostomes and deuterostomes. So protostomes will be having schizocili. It means that from the mesoderm only the coelom will be arising. But in deuterostome, along with the mesodermal cells, the archenteron will also help in the formation of the coelom. Here if you see the schizocoelomate, what happens here in the schizocili? Mesodermal bands are being formed. So this is your ectoderm. This is the blastocell, the cavity in the blastula stage. This is the endoderm. This is the archenteron or the embryonic gut. Early mesodermal cells are here, and here is the blastopore. From this, what will happen? From this stage, it will convert into this stage. That is the split in the mesoderm. These are the mesoderm. This is the mesoderm here in the later stage. This is the gut precisely formed, and the blastocell you can easily observe. As the development continues, this is how the coelom will form from the mesodermal cells in case of schizocili. coelomate. Examples: Annelida, arthropod, and coming to the next type, that is the enterocoelomate. In the enterocoelomate, what will happen? This is the same, but here the structure is somewhat different. Separation of pouches from the guts. The mesodermal cells are separating from the archenteron cells, right? This is the archenteron lining. From the archenteron cells, the mesodermal cells are being formed in the form of pouches, and those mesodermal cells will give rise to a coelom. So that is the difference, major difference between the schizocoelom and the enterocoelom. Entero means something which is associated with the intestines, and we know that archenteron is the future digestive tract. That is why the name enterocoelomate is given, because your coelom in your body right now is being formed from what? It is formed from the archenteron. The archenteron give rise to mesodermal cells. Those mesodermal cells gets converted into mesodermal pouches, which will develop a coelom. So this is the major difference between schizocoeli and enterocoeli. The last one, that is the hemocoel, which is a decreased coelom. It is same as that of the eucoelom. The only difference is that it is a decreased coelom. You will not be able to see a huge body cavity in organisms such as leech, certain arthropods, molluscs, and echinoderms. There will be small space or small pouches you will be able to see around the reproductive organs. Has large sinuses. Sinuses means large cavities will be there at different gaps. Ducts will be there. We call them as hemocoelom. Hemocoelomic channels filled with hemocoelic fluid. Hemocoelic channels is filled with hemocoelic fluid, which consists of plasma, amoebocytes, and hemoglobin. Okay, so this is why it is known as hemocoel, because it consists of the fluid inside the hemocoel consists of hemoglobin and plasma also, but not true blood. This is mainly observed in the arthropods, molluscs, echinoderms, and some insects like arthropods. This is the diagram of a cockroach. Here you will be able to see the hemocoel, okay, and in between there is a hemocoelic fluid which does the work of blood, and somehow the origin of hemoglobin occurs from these organisms. They do not have a complete blood structure, but they do have plasma and hemoglobin in their hemocoelic fluid. In the other diagram also you can easily see the presence of hemocoel. This is also a transverse section of a cockroach. The last thing is the significance of coelom. Why coelom? We have already seen that it is working as a means of transportation for the nutrients in the organism which do not have blood. Okay, it provides as a hydrostatic skeleton also. So we'll see the significance. The first one is that it plays an important role in the body organization of animal, like how the body looks like and how it is organized. It is depending on the coelom, especially in those organisms which do not have skeleton in their body. It provides protection against outer forces to internal. I have told you about the movement in the body wall muscles. So if you have some movement in the body wall of the muscles of your body wall, it will not be affected in your internal organs. Your internal organs will remain protected through this coelom. Facilitates smooth transportation of particles or material in solution. Okay, so in those organisms who do not have blood, even in those organisms who has blood as a means of transportation, coelom serves as a purpose of transportation. But those organisms which do not have blood, in them this is the major means of transportation. of different materials such as nutrients, excretory substances, etc. Provides flexibility to the body and extends room for movement of gut which remains suspended. Gut, your digestive tract, is a suspended tube. It does not have any support. The support is provided, that flexibility, because your digestive system moves continuously because of the food you eat and the digestion that is taking place. So because of the presence of coelom, the flexibility of your digestive tract remains maintained. We have talked about coelomoducts. Coelomoducts are the ducts that are arising from coelom. So gonads which develop from coelomic epithelium are housed in the cavity of the coelom. So in most of the organism, the gonads are the reproductive organs. Testes in case of male, ovaries in case of female. So those gonads are being situated where they are situated in the coelom, and they are formed from the coelomic epithelium. Very important organ are being formed from coelom. So here you can make out that how important coelom is. It is not just a body cavity, but it has many specific roles to play in the body of every organism that bears a coelom. Next significance is nephridial tubules. We have talked about the coelomoducts. Okay, so the nephridial tubules are the excretory ducts in many insects that connects the coelom to the exterior. So it provides a passage for the excretory substances to move out of the body, and in some cases it allows the passage for eggs and sperms also. And the last one is this, that coelomic fluid acts as a hydrostatic skeleton and helps in locomotion. So that's it for today. Thank you. If you have any query, you can contact me on my mail ID. Good luck.